The first ever Sri Lanka Leopard Day was declared on the 1st of August, and today Kaleidoscope takes a look at these beautiful big cats, the Sri Lankan leopard or Panthera pardus cotia, endemic to Sri Lanka. In celebration, we feature wildlife photographer Lalit Dasanayaka's photographs, and right after this break, conservationist Rukshan Jayawardhan, who also shares some of his amazing photographs and knowledge on the big cats. Welcome to Kaleidoscope with me, Savithri Rodrigo.
Why travel when the power to perform transactions is at your fingertips? Enjoy a 10% cashback on all your utility bill payments with CDB iNet. Activate CDB iNet today. CDB, your friend.
General estimates of leopard in Sri Lanka are between a broad 600 to 1,200, with Yala and perhaps Vilpattu having some of the highest density of leopard in the world. But even though the Sri Lankan leopard is the king of the jungle here and are deemed elusive, we have been seeing increasing numbers of leopard deaths recently. So I asked one man who really knows his spots, conservationist Rukshan Jayawardhan, what dangers these majestic animals face.
Leopards in Sri Lanka live both in and outside protected areas. They live in perhaps 60% of the land area of the country. Inside protected areas, killed by poachers that enter the parks. But outside of protected areas, leopards face multiple threats, and leopard deaths seem to have an increasing trend. Wire snares set for other animals, wire snares set deliberately to targeting leopards, as well as trap guns take or claim the lives of leopards. Additionally, leopards also die at the hands of farmers when leopards kill livestock, and those carcasses are poisoned as a revenge killing by farmers. Although many leopards live outside of protected areas, all leopards are protected by the Fauna and Flora Protection Ordinance of Sri Lanka.
If Kaleidoscope gets your happy meter going, then just press the like sign when you watch us on YouTube, Facebook and Instagram. Coming up on Kaleidoscope is a memoir that helped battle demons, tinted films, the country's first digital auctions, vignettes of the week that was, plus stuff to smile about. We begin our Kaleidoscope snapshot with the news that ICRA has lowered Sri Lanka's 2021 GDP forecast to 3.4% from 3.6%. Sri Lanka's worker remittances declined in June to $478 million from $572 million 1 year ago. Vietnam has overtaken Bangladesh to become the world's second largest global ready-made garment exporter. China stands firm at number 1. The new president and CEO of Associated Press is Daisy Veerasingham. She is of Sri Lankan descent and is the first woman, first person of color and first person outside the US to lead the agency in its 175-year history. The world's largest penguin species, the emperor penguins, will be extinct by the year 2100 if climate change continues. Super Mario shattered a record when a sealed copy of the classic 1994 Nintendo cartridge sold for more than $1.5 million, the most expensive sale of a video game at an auction. Leaving Super Mario to seek Princess Toadstool, we will return with how Sri Lanka's oldest auction house goes digital. That's up next on our Kaleidoscope News Capsule. Welcome back. This is our Kaleidoscope News Capsule. The Colombo stock market has been seeing a little bit of a change in its stars, with the turnover looking robust. The average daily turnover moved up to 4.8 billion rupees, while the all-share price index moved down by 1.3%. A surprise build-up in crude oil stockpiles in the US led WTI oil to fall back below $70 a barrel, dropping to $68.30 levels. Gold continued being lackluster this week at $1,810 per ounce. Sri Lanka's oldest auction house, Shopman and Samerawickreme, did a first recently when it dove into having the country's first digital auctions, a need driven by the pandemic, but one that has seen great results and promises scale vertically too. Here's managing partner Navinda Samerawickreme.
The restrictions brought about by the pandemic has made digital auctions the norm. We give the prospective buyer a chance to inspect all items before an auction and also display the images on the digital screen at the time the item is sold, allowing the prospective buyer to have a look and feel of the item being bought. There are no restrictions on the products that can be auctioned on the digital platform. However, we do not auction items of any religious significance either digitally or in any of our traditional auctions. We hope to take the digital auctions a step forward in the near future and introduce live auctions, which will be branded as SNS Live. This will be another first in Sri Lanka and will no doubt revolutionize this market segment.
A London bar is serving up pup tails for dogs, including a Bloodhound Mary and a Barkerita for those doggies who are brought to the bar by their owners for a drink. Remember the award-winning singer Prince, the artist with no name who sang Purple Rain and 1999? 300 pairs of his boots, platforms and sneakers are on exhibition in the beautiful collection at his Paisley Park home studio in Minneapolis. And boy, aren't they just beautiful! Right up next is Natali Devinka, who battled with her demons and conquered them by writing her memoir, Naked and Exposed. And right after that, a real movie experience.
Making all your new goals in life a reality is why our strength is your strength. With 12 billion rupees worth of customer benefits in 2020 and a life insurance fund worth over 100 billion rupees, our strength is your strength. You focus on your goals. We will take care of the risks. Zelenko Life.
In 2017, over 10% of the world's population had a mental health disorder. These could be anything from depression, postnatal blues, post-traumatic stress and anxiety disorders on one spectrum, ranging to bipolar and schizophrenia, to name just a few, on the other side. But while there is increasing awareness, what is troubling is the difficulty in realizing that mental health is as important as physical well-being. In 2017, the same year that 8 million people around the world were identified as having a mental health disorder, Natali Devinka published her book, Naked and Exposed, a short memoir on her personal experience battling mental illness. She's a filmmaker, author and mental health advocate, but through this book, she simply wants to help others find ways to live with it and hopefully take one step closer to giving one more person the realization that you are not alone. Natali, it's lovely to have you on Kaleidoscope Zelenko Life. Let's talk. Just looking at the book that you published, you call it Naked and Exposed, a memoir of a troubled mind. How troubled was your mind that you actually wanted to expose yourself in this new raw state?
Honestly, I didn't have the intention of publishing a book. It was me just writing down how I felt at the time. I was very fragile. I was very depressed. I was going through chronic depression, experiencing hallucination. I was really paranoid at the time. So writing down really helped me at the time. And I was working with a lot of images as well. And it was actually when I showed it to my family with a lot of hesitation, it was them who actually pushed me to publish this.
Again, looking at your experience, what was your lowest point and what was your turning point?
It was very consistent. Having low points was a consistent, my mind was consistently low. It was very jammed all the time. I'm currently diagnosed for obsessive compulsive disorder, depression and anxiety. But I was once diagnosed for schizophrenia as well. So I think it was a lot of trial and error. I've experienced suicidal thoughts ever since I was a kid, and I've attempted at least 10 times. I think it was very recent when I realized the only way, or rather the best way to cope with all these struggles is to accept it. I think that was my turning point. I am still on medication. I don't focus on recovering 100%. I think that was a mistake I did before. It was very frustrating. I was so keen on recovering 100%, which is not possible, which is not necessary.
Is it a cultural dynamic that mental disorders are quickly swept under the carpet? And how can we change it?
In Sri Lanka, it is swept under the carpet because it's something that is very difficult for a family to deal with. I know a lot of stories of kids who are not being invited to family weddings, who are not who are like sort of stuck in rooms. They're not allowed to come out if there's a guest, because there's so much shame attached to mental health issues. It's just like having a migraine or like cancer or diabetes, where you get medication for them, but somehow there's so much shame attached to mental health issues. So I think the main reason why it's swept under the carpet is that shame, and also the fact that it's not something easy to deal with. People consider it that way.
What are the triggers and what signs should families and the community be looking for?
There are so many mental health disorders, and each individual will have unique symptoms. It's a very individual experience. Some things you can look out for is like being suicidal, isolation, maybe sudden bursts of anger. There's so many change in behavior, loss in appetite. When it comes to me, the number one thing I think my parents or my sisters or my husband notices is I isolate myself, because I feel like I'm a danger to myself and to others.
Mental health disorders and mental health in the bigger picture get little priority in the larger scheme of things. With the pandemic, the problem has exacerbated. Given that the healthcare system is anyway overburdened at this point of time fighting the pandemic, how can we as a community be more proactive?
Mostly, I think it's the toxic environments in Sri Lanka at homes that have caused this, and the society. I've been subjected to bullying. I think that was one of the main reasons why it continued for many years. And I witnessed so much as a child. So I suffer from PTSD as well. So I strongly believe it is you, me, everyone else who are responsible for all these outbursts that we have. And the easiest way is to just listen, talk to people more often, try to understand, put yourself in their shoes. There's no better way to be proactive than that.
Thank you so much. I learned a lot, and yes, I just hope everyone will be as patient and will have the ear to listen when things are being told to them. I mean, listening is an art in itself, isn't it?
Why travel when the power to perform transactions is at your fingertips? Enjoy a 10% cashback on all your utility bill payments with CDB iNet. Activate CDB iNet today. CDB, your friend.
The saying goes that a leopard can't change its spots. That may be so, but did you know that these spots are called rosettes because the shape of each spot is similar to a rose? Oh, and leopards are great jumpers too. They can leap 6 meters through the air. That's the length of 3 adults lying head to toe. If the pandemic put a stop to your cinema going days, well, here's a superb option. Real Colombo screens movies outdoors with your own picnic baskets, completely social distanced and in the comfort of a tent. The brainchild of Eric and Manisha Heinrichs.
Hey everybody, I'm Eric Heinrichs, the co-founder of Real Colombo, which is an outdoor co-streaming movie night experience for families, couples, friends, birthday parties, all the goods. The idea was kind of birthed from our friends in Indonesia, in Bandung, Indonesia. They started this concept of watching movies outdoors during COVID times because of all the regulations and restrictions that were put in place. You couldn't go to a movie theater like you normally would want to. So we kind of adopted this idea of like a drive-in movie theater. We go outdoors and you have this big screen in front of you, and me coming from the United States of America, it was something very common I grew up with. So we wanted to bring that concept to Sri Lanka, and that's what we have. Real Colombo. You get in a teepee, get in a tent, and watch a movie.
Thank you to both Lalit Dasanayaka and Rukshan Jayawardena for sharing some amazing photographs of the Sri Lankan leopard today as we celebrate Sri Lanka Leopard Day. Before we leave you today with those beautiful photographs of the leopard etched in your mind, you must do something for us. Like us on YouTube, subscribe to Kaleidoscope with Savithri Rodrigo, and follow us on Facebook and Instagram. Delta is here. Stay safe. Wear your mask, wash your hands, and avoid crowded places. The next 2 weeks are crucial for everyone's safety. We will be back next week, but until then, remember our Kaleidoscope takeaway. Humankind must learn that the life of an animal is in no way less precious than our own. Paul Oxton.